Alright guys, it's me, Phil, aka Mythical, back at you with another stream tonight. And we're live, so let's go ahead and start with the basics here. Let's make sure everybody knows that we're live by dropping a comment on all our socials and in our Discord. So let's get the first part of our stream fired up. Let's get that. Let's copy the space, the link. Okay. Let's see here. Something weird. Okay. Okay. That's what happened here. Got it. We already had. I was like, why is this saying? Alright. User error. Okay. Alright, so let's see if we manage to. How come this doesn't look right? Let's delete this post and let's try again. Oops. Discard. Okay. Let's take that. Bear with me here while we try to get everything rolling. Okay, awesome. Alright, so we got that posted on X. And we got this posted on Facebook. Okay. And it's posting. Okay, let's just check what we got here. Okay. So let's go back to X and I'm just going to share it on the Mythical Art account so we can get more people to see that we're live. Okay, let's like and retweet. And let's go in our Discord so everybody in our community knows that we're currently live. Okay. Okay, now we got everybody in our Discord. Alright, so we share that across all of our socials so we can hopefully draw in some people. And let's go back to our project that we've been working on. What's up, bro? What's going on, Shenanigans? I see you there. Let's see here. Let's make sure this is the right file. Okay, so this is where we left off last night. Kind of getting somewhere, but it's still quite a mess. Okay, let's see here. Okay, why is this? Are we? Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, alright, so we are streaming. So, let's see here. So, I cannot see or hear when somebody posts something in YouTube. I do have like a chat built into OBS, but let me see if I try to. That way, if I don't hear the ping that a message has gone through, then I won't know to look. So let's see if we can set something up here. Alright, someone's trying to log in. Verify with your YouTube account on your phone, because that makes sense, right? Okay, let's log into Layer Forge Studio. Awesome. There we go. So now we have, oops, a chat feature that is kind of going straight through OBS. And I wonder if there is notification. Um, there is reactions, timestamps, moderation, activity, participants. Okay, so not sure what this is going to do for me, but hopefully I'll hear something. Try saying something, shenanigans, and see if anything rings on my end. I'm not sure if he's still there or if there's a delay on the stream. Okay, anyway, I will try to check in on the stream every so often so that I'm not missing out on any comments and I can respond to people. I guess that would make sense. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put on some music in the background. Okay, so let's get that. Okay, cool. Let's dive in. Yeah, this is the Pharaoh Bee. Yep. We just gotta get this done. It's almost there, but a couple things have been dragging out a little too long, in my opinion. Alright, so let's hide the stuff that we don't need to look at right now. What is that? Let's delete that. I kind of just want to keep fighting this headpiece until it's done. And I know right now it's extremely high poly, so uh, what we're gonna do, I guess, is we're going to work with a little bit of dynamic topology here today. Um, and that's gonna allow us to add more geometry where we need it. I'm gonna bring this down to a 2 pixel level, and we need to fix a lot of this stuff here. Okay, so there's no better way than just to go at it, I guess. Uh, I'm just sitting here thinking, is this a sculpting problem or should I just change how a lot of this geometry was made? Not sure. Let's just get at it and see if we can work through some of these issues. And I think the best way to do this right now is just to break down the problem and tackle it one section at a time until it's where we want it, even if it takes us a long time, and just kind of not get overwhelmed with looking at everything. So just to kind of, I'm going to grab the pen real quick and kind of explain where my headspace is at. And by the way, if you did watch last night's stream, I definitely got hosed on Adobe today. Oh yeah, we're still holding. I got my thesis. I'm gonna stick to it. All right, so all right. Kind of messed up the front a little bit, but that's all right. I want to get this everything looking the way I feel it should. That's just the way I think it should be, like that, the way it's connected. Let's see here. So we're going a little slow. I think we're adding a little bit too much geometry in now. We're going to back off to 8 pixels. That's a little too low. Let's go to, so we were at 2, we went to 8. Let's go to 4. I think that's, yeah, that's good. Any more than that, and I think we're getting a little too much geometry. All right, so, and when I say geometry, I really just mean like the mesh. We can see that we're subdividing it too much, and it's affecting the performance, and it would have helped to back off a little bit. So yeah, a topic for today. If only I had the intelligence to watch yesterday's stream, take notes, and pick up where we left off. I think the general gist of yesterday was that people don't appreciate AI slop. And I guess, I just thought of something that we could talk about today. Kind of a pivot and say, is all AI slop, right? And I think that's ultimately what the hedge is that it's AI slop today, but tomorrow it won't be so bad. You won't be able to tell the difference, right? That's the whole idea. And let's kind of think about that. Like, I know I made the commitment to not post AI images anymore. Let's focus on being who we are, being authentic, being a human being, and let's show that. Maybe I might use AI in the background to get my ideas in check, but as far as the finished product, let's be human because we can. And if we can, then we should, right? We don't need AI because we don't have the talent to do things. AI just makes things faster, but sometimes faster is not better. Or is it? I think that's a great debate is whether or not AI is better all the time. One of the things, kind of as a side note, one of the things that I always struggled with as an artist when I was younger was not having my own style, right? And I would do like illustrations in Photoshop or Illustrator, and I always noticed that like my style it didn't exist basically. It was very unrefined. And I wonder if AI will make it so that nobody truly develops a unique style, right? And therefore we lose our sense of expression, right? That uniqueness. That you're inspired by artists and you become like them, or you try to emulate them and you develop your style based on the twist you're able to produce on other people's work, right? And so if you're just relying on AI, who's the inspiration? Like where's the thesis for the design coming from? You just basically asked a machine to create art for you, and no matter what it produced, you were okay with it. So it's like the the original spark of creation is gone. It's just augmented and just slop comes out, right? So it's like I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird time to live in. And it's just like hard to kind of navigate and talk even to it. Um, so what am I trying to get at? I was never good, or at least in my opinion, never good enough at 2D art, but I knew even from a very young age that I was always somehow good with like using my hands to do things a little bit more organically, like claymation. And in fact, I took a claymation class in high school, and it's one of the things that inspired me to want to be an animator, which never truly panned out, but nonetheless, I'm designing and making toys now, so I think that's kind of a compromise, right? I think it's a fair compromise. And who knows, maybe one day we'll still get there anyway. But that being said, I think I do have a pretty decent ability to sculpt characters all on my own, and it produces something that is uniform because the whole thing was done by you, right? Like it wasn't sampled from different things. And so I've kind of developed my own style of sculpting just by doing it. And it's something that I would never got good at with traditional 2D art. Um, and maybe it's just how our brain works. I've always been really good with 3D stuff. And that being said, like, I'm an engineer and I do design work for a living, right? So I draft in 2D and I create 3D models all day long. And so I'm very good with this spatial working. I feel like I struggle with shadow and values and understanding how to create depth when it's just 2D, but when it comes to forms, the actual sculpt itself and the 3D space, it feels for me much more intuitive. And so I gravitate to it for sure. So yeah, it's just it's something I always liked, and to be honest, when I first started sculpting, I could never do what I'm doing right now today. It was just like wasn't humanly possible, but a couple of years ago when I got inspired by a friend to start trying to see if I could really do it and just putting my all to it, regardless of how much time it took, it started becoming more and more intuitive. Uh, as far as doing like architectural stuff, doing terrain stuff, doing mechanical stuff, that's very um, relatively easy than creating complex organic shapes. Um, so that's what we're doing now is we're continuing to build on our skill set. So yeah, that's what we're doing tonight is we're exercising our sculpting muscle. And believe it or not, this is a very, I would say, refined way or proven method of getting better at something is to do something for 1 hour every night. You'll be surprised about how good you can get doing something for just 1 hour. It almost like forces you to have an intense jam session and just get it out as fast as you can because in 1 hour you'll be done. Yeah, so I think that's definitely looking better. It's getting there. What do we got? We got Dixie. What's up, bro? Freaking, we got Dixie, bruh. Fucking Dixie Flatline. What's up, brother? I miss you, man. But I know you gotta do what you gotta do. You're gonna be a daddy, dude. Sorry, I'm listening to Drake. Wasn't that corny as shit? Snip that. That should be a video. I did it for the D-Gens. What do we got here? So, I can't believe we've already been streaming for like 19 minutes. I think the time flew by too fast. So, if we can get this almost done as far as these waves, I know I'm not. Like I say, like let's just do it. Just work at it and see where we end up. Let's not set goals because it's just like when the shape is right, I know it's right, and that's when I know it's done. Other than that, it's like hard to accelerate the process when I do everything very, I would say, my own way. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Is just like organically building up masses into my mind. I just determine if it's too much, too little. But um, one of the things that definitely helped me get better was watching other people sculpt, and I'm definitely nowhere near some of these really experienced sculptors. But I think with a couple more years of practice, our skill set will improve even further. I'm gonna start using this slightly smoother crease brush. It's like not as steep, and maybe yeah, there we go. That looks pretty good. I mean, I definitely need to do something about how steep this stick out is. Um, that'll be interesting. I have to check to make sure I had symmetry on before I freaked out that I did all this work and it's only on one side. Alright, let's try to take this. So I guess there is one slight update with Etsy. We did actually get a quote request today, and we already sent that off. It was only for a couple dollars, but still, nonetheless, this is part of that slow build-up of building something from the ground up. It just always takes its own time. And we did stop running ads on Etsy just because it became too expensive. I think we proved what we wanted to know was whether people wanted the product. And once we know that people want the product, there's no reason to force it, right? It'll come naturally over time. The more customers that we deal with, the better our reviews will be and more people will gravitate towards our shop, but there's no real reason to try to drive that right now. Just let it happen naturally and focus on proving the value of doing business with us through these live streams and interacting with people, and focus on what I thought was not valuable, which is like the organic side. I guess when I started advertising, I was kind of like, you know what, the whole organic thing is played out. At the end of the day, if you have the talent, just advertise and get the business and keep moving. But, I guess I'm learning that that is a method you can go down, but you're going to go down what I would consider um, extremely fast and steep cash burn. So yes, you can do it, but right now it's just not sustainable. Like I see how much sales I can get with $100, and I'm like, yeah, we'd have to like bump this up to like $300-400, and that's a little bit too much for me right now to spend that a month. Um, I'd rather save that money than spend it in ad revenue and force something that's gonna happen naturally anyway. Yay, we got 4 viewers. Haha, yeah, let's go. Alright, so I'm thinking like these like next three kind of need to be lowered. They're like a little too high. And the only way I can think to properly tackle this is to just squash this down a little bit and then smooth it out. Still a little too high on this end. Alright, let's see if we can maybe just add a little bit of material. I don't even know why, but mostly here. Kind of feel like this sucks in a little bit right there. There, it's starting to get there. Uh, yeah, still a little bit short on material right there. Alright, and now I think we got to do the same thing here. We got to bring this way down. Bring out the flatten tool again. And just kind of lower the height of this raised center line. Definitely got a weird little situation right here. I'm gonna come in here and we're gonna just change our mat cap a little bit. Yeah, if we can kind of keep going with that, I think we're definitely improving this quite a bit. I'm going to give this a quick little save ski. Last thing I want to do is find out that I crash Blender and lose the last half hour worth of work. Okay. We gotta somehow maybe make this smaller, make that bigger. What were we just talking? I've already, sometimes I get so sucked into what I'm doing from a sculpting perspective that everything else just kind of goes blank in my mind, and I'm just like focused and locked in on just the shape. I think they say that's the moment that artists love is like you stop. It's almost like you become animalistic, but not really, you're just like totally tunnel visioned and sucked into what you're doing, and everything else just melts away. Is it just me, or are these just looking like a whole bunch of hot dogs? Not bad. Okay. How are we gonna fix this? Ugh. Yeah, that's getting a lot better, huh? You can kind of see where we've started and how it's where we left off yesterday, where some improvement is needed. It's not like way off, but it needs some attention. Some well-deserved attentiones. Let's just quickly check on some socials real quick. See if we got any messages, see if we got any notifications. See what we get here in a second. Just kind of, I was like, hold on a second. Let me feel like I hit a stopping point. Okay. I'm pretty happy with from here down. Okay. Now we just have to do the rest. It's not gonna be too bad, guys. It's not gonna be too bad. Let's see here. How we doing tonight? Layer up on min swap. Just saying. Where's the super chat? Um, I don't even know. I don't even know how to set up super chats. I don't think we're there yet. Maybe after some time we can enable monetization. I think I saw this last night. You have to perform a certain amount of streams. I think it's a bare minimum of 3 streams, and then you have to have a certain amount of followers, and you can unlock monetization. And I think maybe at that point you can take um, super chats, I suppose. But we got quite a bit more work to do there. I need a dev. I need somebody to do the deving. All right, hold on a second. Let's just take a look at our X real quick. All right, so we didn't get too much action on socials today, and not much the in the Discord, but but the show goes on. All right. Looks like we've had a couple people pop in and out. We've had 6 views and 1 chat rate. I don't know what that is. What a one chat. The chat rate is the stream the most. I don't know what that means. Um, we got 2 likes. That's a start. Oh yeah, that's a comment that I got yesterday. Make sure you like, comment, share. I don't know, all the buttons on the screen. I need you to hit all the buttons, all of them. All right. I need to write that down. Somebody that watches YouTube religiously doesn't know even what the standard thing is. Like, follow, comment. I don't know. Help us out. Give us a goddamn handout. uh, what did we? Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight. Oh, we can go back to what I was talking about before I got terribly distracted. We were talking about AI slop versus AI good AI? I don't know. Pro AI? Is that what we're going to call it? I'm going to explore Adobe's competitor to Canva. I know that I started to look into Canva the other day, and their new AI features are so awesome. In the sense that you could, like, let's go to ChatGPT and generate an image, and then bring it into Canva, and Canva will turn like all your font into actual font so you can edit it or delete it. So I thought that was awesome. I was like, they're on point there. And I believe you can also do that with Adobe software. And we're going to check out Adobe since we're officially going to be bag holders. I'm still optimistic that professional software companies are going to do a better job selling AI to consumers and AI companies. I think there's still a gap, a logic leap there, and a trust issue. So, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong and I'll lose all my money. But yeah, they got shorted to shit today, so lots of volume, lots of short selling, some good opportunities, you know. But I just put a lump sum in and said, let's let it ride and see what happens. I still think that we're going to see some kind of a software rally with software companies that are basically bringing the fight to these AI companies and saying, if anybody's going to make my business AI, it's going to be me, right? So optimistic to see how things evolve over the next year. Uh, uh, I think we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm starting to like it. And if I like it, that means we're getting there. I will be ecstatic if we can be done by this weekend. And as long as we keep pushing, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, I would really like to be printing this model, or at least start figuring out how I'm going to print it and going through that process this weekend. And that'll give me a couple weeks, hopefully, to paint everything, get it out the door. And then we already have really our next batch of projects or priorities, so the show goes on. And then we'll think about launching our next raffle, and for sure 100% of the raffle will go towards buying layer. I think that's my priority with at least money that's generated from the community, is making sure that we put that where it belongs, which is back into layer. Um, and this is going to be something that I thought about earlier. Didn't really fully think it out, but like when I live stream, it's funny that you brought up tipping during the live stream. Like, I don't want tips. I want people to go buy layer. I want all of us to hold equity in what we're building and work like that. You know, this has got to be a a system where we all win, right? I think that's the commitment to trying to make this about community more than about personal um, wealth, I guess, or success. I don't know. Everything else outside of the community, I'll probably still invest a portion back into the token, but I know at least for the money that's made from the community, I would rather put that into boosting our market cap higher. And right now we're slightly shy of 100,000 ADA. We were over 100,000, but we slipped a little bit under. Um, and I'm thinking in my mind, you know, if we could be at a 250,000 ADA by the end of the summer, That would be a pretty good scenario. So the question is how are we going to do that? And I think these live streams are a big component to it. People need to see what it is that is behind layer that's bringing value that obviously people in the Discord know about, but all these other people, they need to know about it. You know, we may not be running some elaborate crypto related utility scam, but we're just humbly doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is building a real studio, and I think that has more potential than half the scams that launch on chain every year. Okay, so now I think we could maybe split this thickness in half here so we can get in there with both strands. Okay, and we're kind of all kinds of wonky here. I think we need a little bit more material here and then down at the end. I'm just listening to an ad right now on Pandora about checking for or signing up for an Apple credit card and getting points, and I was like, oh, I need to check my credit card and see how many points I have. Maybe I can spend some of those points on layer. Man. Or more dong. I don't know. Or more dong. Yeah. Or more. Both. Layer and dong. Layer up your dong. Or two. Add some material right there. Let's see here. Let's bring in this tool that kind of helps you fix some geometry. And we gotten pretty close. I'm definitely liking where this is going. Alright, so it's definitely... Okay, let's... I'm gonna turn dynamic... I'm gonna save this. And it's kind of like synced in here. Yeah, that's looking much better. Yeah, we had to go in there and really tweak things up a little bit here. But I think that's looking pretty good. What I want to do here is I want to get a little bit get a little bit closer, and then we're definitely gonna have to try to remesh this down like to a lower geometry, because right now it's very dense. It's a lot of data. And let's see here is what do we got here? This alone is almost 3 million polys. That's crazy. We can definitely reduce this considerably. And I mean, all, well, I mean considerably when I say considerably. I think we should be able to get this down to less than a million, hopefully. Maybe we could try to get it down to a quarter million would be nice. We'll see what happens when we try to remesh this down. Get the quality. Keep the quality, but get rid of the data that maybe is a little too much. I would like to experiment with that and see what happens actually. So let's save this just in case we crash the whole system. And let's see what happens. I want to look at let me see this. I kind of want to look at the front and the back at the same time so that I know kind of what's happening when I drop the quality. So let's shoot for, you know what? I'm gonna shoot for a million right off the rip. Alright, so we're gonna must select one object. Okay, that's going. Let's wait and see what happens here. Well, that's okay. So, okay. All right. So that wasn't, I don't know why we got 1.5 million instead of a million. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that command and see if we can go back up to 2.8 million. And let's try to go to 500,000 and see what happens with that. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. Very important. It's still a little bit higher than what we targeted. However, let's see. Let's just take a good look at this. It's not bad. I think we came down a little bit on resolution and things are slightly more. It's fine though. Yeah, it's definitely fine. And then we'll come in here and we'll do retopo some more tomorrow. I think we're just about to hit the end of our stream, so make sure you like, follow, retweet, share. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of shit that you can do. We'll try to fix this up nice tomorrow. Fix a couple creases here, and this headpiece or this hair is done. And then we will work on this piece right here. And then we'll probably work on the mane at the bottom, this little mane right here. Right now it's looks like it's attached to the body. It's not. Okay, this piece right here. This piece right here. What do we got here? Okay, so we got all these little components here that we can start refining. But tomorrow, just looking at this and what we got done today, I think this will be done tomorrow. We'll start working on this and trying to get it done. And hopefully that comes together fairly smooth. And then we got this little bit of mane. And then we want to finish the eye. And then we want to tighten up the body. And then we want to finish these wings. I think this was the hardest part because it's so in your face. It's so big. Yeah, I think we're almost there. Yeah, this is looking really good. So yeah, that's our Pharaoh Bee character coming together real smooth. Uh, and we'll work, the big thing that I want to start doing from now on is getting these poly counts down. So tightening up this headpiece was a good thing. We'll try to get this tightened up. This body is, sitting around 2.4 million. Yeah, we got like, let's see here, what else? Alright, so this body's sitting at 2.4 million, and I have a feeling that we could definitely get some higher level of efficiency in here. But we're getting there, folks. We are getting there. I just wanted to check out the whole model. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching the stream tonight. Please like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below on what you liked, what you didn't like, and what we can do better on. And you know what? We will see you tomorrow. Let's see here. We got one concurrent viewer that's still watching, and thanks for being here. I don't know who it is, but it's one of you guys, and you're a real one. All right. That's the end of our stream, folks. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.